Hello, my name is Elizabeth Moylan, and today I will be talking about the Krakatoa volcanic eruption. So, starting off with some background information on Krakatoa. Krakatoa was a volcanic island that was located along the arc of Indonesia. It was, in fact, a part of the Ring of Fire. The ring is made up of 452 volcanoes. 75% of all active volcanoes on Earth are located within the Ring of Fire. Activity of Krakatoa dates back to 1680. Krakatoa size. Krakatoa was 3 miles wide and 5.5 miles long. Krakatoa has a 4-mile wide caldera. A caldera is a depression formed in a volcano. Caldera is caused by the emptying of the magma chamber underneath the volcano. Krakatoa is a composite volcano, also known as a stratovolcano. A composite volcano is built by multiple eruptions. It is made up of alternating layers of lava flows, volcanic ash, cinders, blocks, and bombs. Blocks in a volcanic eruption refer to a fragment of rock that measures more than 2.5 inches in diameter and is erupted in a solid condition. Composite volcanoes are typically steep-sided and symmetrical cones. Many mountains around the world are composite volcanoes. Some examples include Mount Fuji, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Rainier, just to name a few. Most composite volcanoes, including Krakatoa, have a crater at the summit that has a vent. This is where the lava flows from. Another type of volcano is the shield volcano. Shield volcanoes have broad summit areas and low sloping sides. This gives them their shield shape. A good example of a shield volcano is the island of Hawaii. The last type of volcano is the cinder cone volcano. Cinder cone volcanoes are made of basalic fragments. Cinder cone volcanoes are different than the other two in that they carry liquid lava blobs into the atmosphere that rain back down to Earth around the vent to form the cone of the volcano. These lava blobs are called bombs. The larger the eruption of these bombs, the higher the cone will be. Looking at these three types of volcanoes, we can confirm that Krakatoa is a composite volcano due to its shape and how the volcano was formed. Krakatoa had 3 linked volcanic peaks. The first volcanic peak was Perbotuan. It was the northernmost peak. It was also the most active peak out of the 3. The middle peak was the Dannon Peak. The last peak was the Rakata Peak. This peak was the southernmost and the largest out of the 3. The eruption of Krakatoa. In August of 1883, Krakatoa erupted. While the volcano had minor eruptions here and there before this, nothing compared to this eruption. This was one of the largest eruptions in recent time. The explosion was so big that it was heard across the Indian Ocean. It was also heard over 1/13 of Earth's surface. The eruption was so large that only 1/3 of Krakatoa remained above sea level after the eruption. The only volcanic peak that was somewhat intact was the Rakata Peak, and only remnants of the Rakata Peak were left. Ash was sent 50 miles into the atmosphere and blanketed an area of 300,000 square miles around the eruption. The explosion also sent rock fragments into the air as high as 5 cubic miles. The magma of Krakatoa was said to be made up of dacite or rhyolite. It is found that volcanic eruptions are more explosive if they are made of dacite or rhyolite magma. These types of magma accumulate more pressure than others before being set free by the eruption. The effects Krakatoa had on Earth. The eruption of Krakatoa killed at least 36,417 people. Most were killed by giant waves. These waves reached the height of 40 meters above sea level. These waves also reached distances as far away as 3,800 nautical miles. The giant waves wiped out 165 coastal villages surrounding Krakatoa. While there were not human inhibitors on the volcanic island, the eruption knocked out every plant, animal, seed, and spore living on the island at that time. It wasn't until 3 years after the eruption that algae and mosses started to inhabit the remains of the island again. Krakatoa also had some lasting effects on the atmosphere. The eruption sent debris about 11 cubic miles high into the atmosphere. This darkened the skies of the world 275 miles around the volcano. For the areas very close in proximity to the eruption, it is said that the sunlight did not return until 3 days after the eruption. Because debris shot so high up into the atmosphere, a layer of sulfur dioxide and other gases began to block a portion of the sunlight from reaching Earth. The eruption caused the Earth to experience gorgeous, spectacular sunsets due to the debris and gases released into the atmosphere. This also caused halo effects around the sun and the moon. A halo effect is when there is a large ring or circle of light surrounding the sun or moon. These are caused by high floating clouds or debris within the atmosphere. The eruption also had an impact on global temperature. On average, the temperature dropped 1.2 degrees Celsius the year after the eruption. It also took 4 years to re-establish the globe's temperature. What Krakatoa looks like now. Even though the eruption took out 60% of the volcanic island, a submarine eruption in 1927 produced a new island in the same location. This new volcano is called Anak Krakatoa. In Indonesian, this means Child of Krakatoa. A crater on the south side of this new volcanic island is 2,000 feet in diameter and has a growing cinder cone of 300 feet. This makes New Anak Krakatoa Island a cinder cone volcano. Anak Krakatoa raises up to 300 meters above sea level. Scientists have found that this volcanic island is growing at a rate of 5 meters per year. It has a diameter of 1 mile and was 545 feet tall. The volcano is still very active today. In 1993, one tourist was killed and 5 others were injured by an eruption at Anak Krakatoa. Anak Krakatoa has a cycle of relatively quiet periods that last up to 2 days and then to nearly continuous eruptions. Many of these eruptions, though, seem to be fairly mild. Occasionally, Anak Krakatoa will have larger eruptions, sending ash and debris high into the sky. The eruption of Krakatoa in 1883 will forever go down as one of the biggest and most deadly eruptions in history.